Okay guys, so I actually printed the form. I came ready for Stefan because some of you have been boozing me with questions and I'm like, okay, hold it there, I don't know everything. So Stefan, I have some questions I circled on the forms that will be easily misunderstood. I just wanted you to like throw more light on it. Like now, this question number 12. Hello guys, welcome back to Chilo Talks, and today we'll be talking about scholarships, especially the MEXT embassy recommended scholarship that is currently ongoing. I think the deadline is actually this month and July ending, so I feel like this video is more like a crossing of T's video, a dotting of I's video. And I brought Stefan, who is actually on the embassy recommended scholarship. I needed someone because two things: I don't know it all, human factor, and the second thing is that I'm a MEXT scholar but not on the embassy recommended scholarship. If you want to get what I mean by that, maybe you have to watch my other video, Studying Japan MEXT scholarship, then you understand why I said that. So we've been trying to shoot this video for a long time now, but we've both been very busy. When I have time, Stefan doesn't have time. When I don't have time, Stefan has time.
It's been 2 weeks, right?
It's been a while. It's not 2 weeks. We've been trying to shoot this video since May.
Yeah.
So finally, we get to do it now. So guys, do you have anything to say to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hello, guys. As Choma said earlier, I'm Stefan, under the embassy recommended scholarship. Currently studying my master's here in Japan. So for this. For today's talk, we'll basically go through the steps involved in applying for the scholarship. There are mostly 6 steps involved, so I'll go through each step and then we'll try to clarify some of the frequently asked questions in the process involved.
Okay, so sorry to cut you. So guys, I actually have some frequently asked questions from the last video. So many questions. So this video is going to be in the order of Stefan will run through the 6 major steps to getting the scholarship, the hints, the tips, the things he feel worked for him. Disclaimer guys, this is not a one-size-fits-all video. It's not an almighty formula video. It's like our 2 cents knowledge. It's not like whatever we say is what MEXT is going to or something like that. It's just like a 2 cents knowledge video. But then again, when he runs through the process, I printed out the forms. There are some easily misunderstood questions he will also talk about, like research proposal and all those things. And then I printed out some frequently asked questions from my previous video, like 12 of them. Things like, should I type, should I write, how do I get to universities, and all those things. He'll be talking about them too, and then that will be basically how we'll be ending the video. So you want to stay tuned to everything. So today is Stefan's talking day. Over to you.
Okay, so we'll start with the call for applications. So to begin with, I'll start with the call for applications. So under this stage, you'll be filling several forms. These are common forms you'd have encountered if you've tried applying for scholarships. So you'll be filling the forms about your previous education, some personal information, your academic background. These are very vital. And at this stage also, you'd have to prepare a research proposal. I think that's one of the most tedious processes under this stage. So you have to be careful about it. You don't have to prepare a proposal that's into so much detail. It should be a general idea that shows what you're interested in, your research goals. So you have to take your time and read some research papers, try to summarize them, and then formulate a proposal which shows what you want to actually study when you arrive in Japan. With the research proposal, there's a probably 90% chance your research area will change when you arrive. But this gives an idea to show that you are really interested into research work. So paying so much attention to this will be very important. And the second is about contacting professors during this stage. So before you submit your forms, you try to contact some professors, even though this is not mandatory, but it's recommended at this stage. It helps you to have that kind of introductory relation with the professor, just in case your scholarship is successful. It would hasten the process in between you and the professor. And the second step is the first screening. The first screening is mostly has to do with the English and Japanese exam and also an interview. So with the English exam, you'd have to put in a lot of effort here because that's the main factor in deciding those who would make it for the scholarship. For Japanese, it's in two ways. If you pass the Japanese exam, that means you wouldn't have to take the 6 months Japanese program in Japan. If you fail, it wouldn't affect your gaining of the scholarship, but it only means that you'd have to take the 6 months Japanese program when you arrive. Yeah. The third step is the provisional acceptance. So if once you've made it to this point, you'd have to request provisional acceptance letter from the universities here in Japan. As I said earlier, during the call for application stage, if you've already contacted a professor before getting to this stage, it becomes a plus for you because you can easily identify which universities you'd want to attend upon arrival. So if you've already contacted a professor who has given you the go-ahead to indicate his name as a preferred professor, then this will come in handy. However, if you haven't done this in the call for application stage, you can still go ahead and contact professors within this period. Some of them might not get back to you promptly, but you have to be patient because they are very busy with their research and projects. So you have to be patient and then contact as many as possible. The next step is the placement preference. And at this stage, you'd have to select your preferred choice of universities based on the professors you've contacted. So if you receive provisional letters from the professors you contacted, you'd have to list the universities you want to attend in the order of your preference. I think at this stage, the preference should be based on the kind of conversations you've had with the professor. So if you've had a lot of discussion with the professor about research work, then that should be your preferred, that should be the number one professor you'd want to work with. Yeah. The next is the second screening, and this has to do with the selection of the university by the Japanese government. So at this stage, you basically don't have any influence in it. It's up to the Japanese government to decide. In my case, I had two universities I could attend. One was a national university and the other was a private. And
really, you can choose a private university?
Yeah, you can choose a private university.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
You've already answered one question on frequently asked questions.
Yeah, but everyone is trying to save costs, so I was the national university was assigned to me, not the private. Okay. However, if you only get provisional acceptance from the private university, that would also be given to you. Yeah. And lastly is the notification of results. So, and at this stage, the embassy would notify you which university has been assigned to you. And I think at this stage, you can finally celebrate
victory at last.
Yeah, you can start imagining yourself arriving in Japan. And then I think once you've been notified about the university, you should start reading about the structure of your university. Know how things are done, how the international offices work. You should visit the university's websites frequently to just have an idea of how they accept students in the university upon arrival. And also, I would recommend you to just start learning some basic Japanese at this point. It doesn't have to be in so much details, just basic greetings, how the Japanese
arigatou gozaimasu.
Yeah, just the basics. Know how the Japanese system works in order to have a comfortable life upon arrival. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, guys, so I actually printed the form. I came ready for Stefan because some of you have been boozing me with questions. I'm like, okay, hold it there. I don't know everything. So, Stefan, I have some questions I circled on the forms that will be easily misunderstood. I just wanted you to throw more light on it.
Yeah.
Like now, this question number 12
Okay.
said field of specialization studied in the past. For someone who is coming for masters, what does this mean? And someone who is coming in for PhD, what do you think? I know you're on masters, but what do you think that could mean?
Under this field, I think it means your previous study area. So if you were studying maybe mechanical engineering, you could just as your undergrad, you could put that as the field of specialization. It gives them an idea of your study or your academic background.
Yeah.
So it's basically your previous study area. But
Okay, so then I think, have you ever written a thesis? That should be a yes, probably your undergraduate or your master's work.
exactly.
Then the first course you plan to take in Japan, if you're coming for master's degree, I think that should be master's, right?
Exactly.
And then if you're coming for doctoral, that should be doctoral.
Yeah.
Then I think that's that for these. Okay, these questions like, what was your trigger for having an interest in Japan? Why do you choose Japan as a destination to study your graduate level education?
Yeah.
And you like, true, like, is this this kind of thing you, I remember you saying once, this kind of questions you get during interview.
Yes. Exactly.
So can you like just, what do you think? For me, I feel like maybe it's personal. Probably you tailor it to your research work and the things you know about Japan. I don't know. But what do you think?
I think it's in two ways. The first is the personal section, as you said. So it's based on your interests.
Yeah.
So if you grew up admiring the Japanese culture, that could also be an influence. And secondly, it could be an influence from your academic background.
Okay.
So if you're maybe into a study of earthquake engineering, that could also influence your choice for studying in Japan. So it's in two ways: your personal preference and also your academic background.
Okay, so I probably use the same thing for what kind of things do you think you can contribute to Japan and your home country?
Yeah, exactly. For this, you could talk about how your the results from your study could promote relations between your country and Japan and stuff like that.
Okay, so for English language qualifications, did you have TOEFL, IELTS, or others?
I think during the application, the embassy is very kind, especially if your previous study was done in English. There's no need to submit the TOEFL
Or IELTS?
Yeah.
I think there is something that for my uni, they have like English proficiency, like you were taught in English.
Yes.
So you can submit that. That's what I
So
submitted.
if you were taught in English, you just get
like
a certificate that proves that your study was done in English.
Yeah.
If it wasn't done in English, then you have to submit the TOEFL or IELTS results. Yeah.
Okay, so that's that for the form. Then I think the other forms here are actually the medical forms. And do you have anything to say about medical forms? It's just follow what they say.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so guys, let's go to the frequently asked questions that have been bamboozling me with. So the first question here is, I will tag it with the 7th question.
Okay.
Submission to the embassy.
Yeah.
Must you do it personally? And what if you're not in your country of origin? Can you still submit it?
Okay.
Do you have any idea?
I would answer this in relation to how I did mine. So in Ghana, once you fill the application forms, you submit it to the scholarship secretariat, and then they sort it out and submit it to the embassy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it's done. I'm not sure how it's done in other countries, but it might likely be the same process.
Okay, so you didn't need to go to the embassy. You were not living in the embassy city.
I was in the city, but then the process is to submit it to the scholarship secretariat. They gather all the documents and submit to the embassy on your behalf. So
I don't really know if it's the same thing. Okay, how do you find universities? And does it include private universities? I think you've already answered that it includes private universities, right? So, but how do you search for universities? How did you find universities?
I just Googled the best engineering schools in Japan.
Okay, So the English and Japanese exam, most questions were just like, oh, I don't know Japanese, but I think you've touched that, more like
I think before coming, it's good to have some background in Japanese, at least just a little. It would make
But for the exam, for the interview, the exam you wrote
for the exam, it doesn't really count
so much.
in deciding those who are awarded a scholarship, because they know most of us don't have enough background in Japanese at that point.
Okay. So is there any like CGPA required?
I think.
I think it's just to stick to the application guidelines for this.
Yeah.
If they mentioned
the guidelines
any,
specifies.
yeah, if they mentioned anything, then stick by it. If they did not, that means it's open for everybody.
Exactly.
But do you have any? I don't think I went through. Did you go through the application?
In my university, we use first class, second class system. So the cutoff was the second class upper.
Oh, that was the cutoff.
Yeah.
For the scholarship.
Yeah.
Oh,
Second
really?
class
I didn't even know there was a CGPA. Okay, so if you don't have a reply from a prospective supervisor, it doesn't kill your chances, right? You can still proceed with all the steps.
If that's in the initial stages,
Yeah,
if you don't get a response, that's okay. But once you get the certificate of passing the first screening from the embassy,
you need to
most professors would be likely to respond to you at that point, because
okay.
at that time they know you have
Funding.
the funding for the study, and also you've been through some form of screening, so they are sure that you'll be a good student.
Okay, so it's not like, oh, at the initial point when you're still trying to submit the forms, you must get a supervisor.
No.
You can try to send mails,
Exactly.
but probably if you don't have a positive reply, you can still proceed.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Do you submit? This is a very controversial question, because I feel like you submit all. Do you submit all the forms at once?
Yeah, make sure they are all in good standing. All the documents are original, and make sure they are not in.
So you're submitting all the forms at once,
Yeah.
right? Is it handwritten or typed?
I think the form signers way that you could type it. I think that would be better, because handwritten creates some problems.
Yeah, I feel like
eligibility.
I feel like it's safer to always type public documents. You know, except you're just so comfortable with your handwriting, of which is you never can tell you. To you it may be eligible, but to the next person it may not be. So I feel like it's safer to type. I typed most of my documents for my category. And then someone asked me application fees, that he was seeing application fees for some universities. But I'm like, I don't think you have to get admission at the initial stage. You just have to write the names of the school.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay any application fee at that point.
Even with the way the application process is structured, you don't pay any application fee.
Yeah.
You just need to get the provisional acceptance. Once you get it, the embassy and the government would
take care of that.
Yeah, they'll handle the process. Yeah,
for you.
So there's no application fee.
So alright, guys, I think we have touched major questions and all the steps towards getting the scholarship. Hopefully this video helps someone out there who is already going through the process. And I already got some good feedbacks from the first video. Some people were already like, oh, professors are replying to me, oh, it's going well. So I'm really grateful that this platform is impacting lives one step at a time, one life at a time. So guys, please, if you need more of these videos, I need you to subscribe. Subscription is completely free, but to me it means a lot, because it motivates me to want to keep dragging people to come and do videos and all those kind of things. So thank you for watching. If you love this video, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, subscribe, and share to as many people as possible. You never can tell who you are helping. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on Chilo Talks. Bye for now.
Bye guys, all the best.
Yeah, all the best.